Good evening, friends. I hope you're not tired after the last 2 days sessions that have been happening here. And I'm told that yesterday evening, a lot of you spent time right up to 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
I hope that's not been really tiresome.
I would like to be a part of that session if we have that tonight.
So quickly to start, because we have just 30 minutes and we are talking about a unicorn. And unicorn is a big journey, in my opinion. And I'm going to ask Varun a lot of questions about his Kal, Aaj and Kal. That's the way we are going to look at it. So Varun, to kickstart, after you passed out your engineering and then MBA, what were the thoughts in your mind? Did you ever think that you are going to start a unicorn?
नहीं उस time तो unicorn word भी present नहीं था. I don't think it was marketed really well. I passed out in 2007. I don't think there was any unicorn in India till then. And, I think the only thing on my mind was to get a job, which is what is there on most B school kids' minds, and that's how the education system is kind of shaped. And that you ace exams, you get a job, create a risk-free path for yourself. And, although I do come from a business family, in fact, I'm probably the only postgraduate in my family. बाकी सारे at best graduation या फिर उससे भी पहले अपने businesses start कर चुके थे. Small and medium businesses, I mean nothing large and worth mentioning, but that DNA has been there, right? I mean you know, to how it is to be in a business life, or what my father for about 15 years was in a job, and one day he didn't have a job, right? I mean, just as simple as that.
Okay.
You could call it politics, you could call it anything. And I was a kid, I was like, 4th, 5th standard at that time. And, but I've seen that moment where, suddenly how lack of security and not having a job felt. And then from there to, he built his own business, and while we had tough years, but then after a while he created a standard of life for us, which was fairly rewarding compared to what we were earlier. So I think that was there at the back of the mind,
sure.
And which is why I did take part in a lot of business case competitions, business plans, created some folders which still exist on my laptop today. And, but at that time I didn't have the thought of starting. The thought was there, but I think probably the courage wasn't, right?
Correct.
Or the right idea wasn't.
Sure.
And hence, like a good boy, I joined a great starting career at Hindustan Levers.
HUL.
Yeah.
So just wanted to touch base on that. So you worked with HUL, then Smirnoff, and then Coca-Cola. 3 different kinds of multinationals and completely different product lines in that sense, although you can call them FMCG kind, but completely different. So what are the key learnings in terms of culture, people management, processes that you cherish and you have carried forward now in your own business?
Well, I think, firstly, all 3 companies are built on strong brands.
Yes.
And, Unilever has fabulous brands. Coca-Cola is the largest brand in the world. Diageo has the largest alcohol brands in the world. And it's just great to see how sustainable, 100 years old businesses are built if you do the right things around brand
Correct.
building.
Correct.
And that brand building, very simply, is about, idea of consistency and quality, right?
Sure.
Which you deliver every time in line with what you have propositioned to your consumer. And I think that was the first thing that sort of I learned throughout. Right?
Sure.
And while we were doing our jobs as a sales manager or as a brand manager, we also were aware that the brand is so much bigger than us. Right? That while we can make incremental difference, right? But if I 3 months नौकरी पे नहीं भी आऊँगा, तो this brand is not going anywhere, right? I mean, it'll still continue because it's holds such a dear position in the mind of the consumer, and building something like that was really exciting, right? So I think firstly that, right? Second, I think what clearly I took away was when you put a lot of smart people in a room, right, they do great things, right? And that's how great organizations are built. And which is again something that we have tried to replicate when we have tried to create our own company. Right? And I would say third was there is no other way to run a business than by doing sustainable and process-oriented things. Right? And that's how most of these large organizations are clearly run. Sure. Right? So I think that, that was there at the back of our mind when we were starting up, right? And we ensured that in whatever little ways, right, with whatever little money that we had, right, we have some method to the madness.
Right. Great. So having left Coke and with the birth of your son Agastya, life changed completely for you. I think you started looking inward, looked at what products your kid requires. So what is that journey towards launching Mamaearth? Why the name Mamaearth? Yeah. And what is the whole thought process behind building the brand?
Well, I believe, and I don't know how many parents in the room, but when you go through those early months of parenting, right, and that's true of, by the way, any stressful time that you generally go through, right? In parenting, especially with the first child, can be one of those times. Yes. And you actually start seeing so many problems around you, right? Saying, hey, why is somebody not launching this, or why is somebody working on this problem, or why is somebody not making this thing easier for us, right? And I think this was, again, one of the things that we came across where a lot of negative conversations were going on around toxins, and there was no brand which was clearly propositioning themselves as toxin-free, certified safe, so that parents don't have one less stress to sort of take. And that was really the starting point. And like I said, I think whenever you will go through any kind of sort of, stressful situations, it could be, COVID has given birth to so many, businesses because we all went through those stressful times, right? So you would figure out ideas which you would want to solve, right? Yeah. And then it was about, hey, should we solve it, right? And finally, after a lot of debates and discussions, the answer was yes, and which is when we quit to start this out. Right? I think the name Mamaearth, for us, what we wanted to create was a brand that stood for the best of earth, right? Okay. And stood for a nurturing, character. Right? And we thought about a lot of directions in which this could go, and then we're like, hey, Earth itself, and we refer to it as Mother Earth, right? Is the abode, and which is the mother that takes care of all of us. Absolutely. And
much more deeper meaning.
Yeah, provides all the goodness that we have around us, right? And hence, that's a great space, right? But then we said, hey, we're a young brand, we're a millennial brand, right? And how do we make it a little more millennial in the way it sounds, and the way it rolls off the tongue, and the way a child would probably say it, right? And that's where, Mama, which is usually the first words that a child uses to address the mother, is how that came through. So the mother became Mama, Earth remain Earth, and the rest is history.
Great, great. So Mamaearth has a very different design sense when you look at your bottles, the kind of prints that you have on it. What is the thought process behind that whole design?
I think, again, the credit goes to my co-founder and my wife, Ghazal, who's also an established artist and has a very keen eye for design. And I think once we came up with Mamaearth as the space, and then around the VIS and design, it was also all about, hey, how do you bring this to life, right? And because we were starting with a baby care range, and we decided sort of to go in the direction where young baby animals, are happy in their own flora and fauna. Sure. And Mother Earth provides very different flora and fauna. So, for example, there might be a little baby whale which is in the water, or a baby camel in the desert, or a baby, koala climbing up a tree, right? But they're all happy in their worlds, right? And that to us gave a sense of both, the space where this is what represents Mamaearth, and as well as a way to connect with kids, right? Because most of the packaging that we saw was not fun, right? It was very bland, and we wanted this
very
to
clinical.
be fun. Yeah, right. We wanted it to be fun. We wanted it to be something which a child sort of can play with, can talk about, can say, elephant wala, right, etc. Right. So I think some of those thoughts is what went into Ghazal's mind when she was
it stands out completely.
Thank you.
And what is the whole way in which you really search for the right ingredients, get them certified, and what kind of manufacturers you're able to put together?
No, so in fact, that was honestly the hard part of the journey, because we were not experts in R&D and formulations, etc. Although we did learn it, we did a crash course. I mean, after a couple of months of spending time in labs, we could actually drum up a shampoo ourselves, right? We were that trained. But we did through our networks, through cold calls, reach out to the best researchers around us, right? And added a few which had really got the right credentials to our team. And then we started working with someone in US called madesafe.org, which is basically a not-for-profit organization that certifies brands to be completely free of harmful chemicals and does a lot of rigorous sort of analysis and testing to give that certification. So I think combination of the right R&D team and then getting guidance to get that certification, because you had to filter out all kind of ingredients. They would reject ingredients because they were not good for freshwater fish, right? And they would say, hey, when you take a bath with it, this water goes into the rivers and it mixes and it can harm freshwater fishes, so can't be used. So I think with that process, right, is how we arrived at the right ingredient, which led to the formulations that we finally launched with.
Correct. So apart from having the right product, you guys are one of the few companies who also thought about how the packaging, how the product usage is going to impact the eco, and also looked at planting saplings, for example. What is the whole thought process behind it?
No, so I think we are strong believers that this millennia belongs to purpose-based brands, right? And millennials like to buy into why-based brands rather than what-based brands, and which is where this thought sort of came through. So people should buy into why we exist rather than what we sell. And if they buy into why we exist, right, they'll buy whatever we sell, not just what we sell, right? So, which has been shaped by a lot of global brands like Apple, or is being shaped by Indian examples like even a Patanjali, right? Which were not about products but the purpose. In our case, because Mother Earth was core to this, right? We wanted our purpose to be around sustainability, right? And hence, be it plastic positive, where we recycle 2 times the amount of plastic that we use, and we recycled more than 3,700 metric tons of plastic till now. Or the Plant Goodness Initiative, where we plant trees and actually link those trees back to the orders that you place on our website. So you can actually, we send you a mail which has picture of that tree, the geolocation of that tree. You're most welcome to visit it if you want, right? So I think all of those we felt is going to make our relationship deeper with our consumers, because consumers do care, and they're going to care more and more the way we're heading, for some of the climate changes. So I think that was the broad
Very
thought.
good, very good. So how do you keep in touch with the customers or the mother's voice all the time? And how do you keep on developing your products?
Well, I think listening has been a very, very core part of our DNA. I mean, we of course started by listening, which was a lot more physical in nature, calling consumers, meeting consumers, and trying to get some of the information in. In fact, before we had a board of directors, we had something called Board of Moms, and where every week we'll get 10 new moms to just come into a
chat.
meeting room and just chat with us around their problems and how they were feeling. I think that became a DNA of the organization. Now, of course, we use technology in a very big way to do listening, to do trend analysis, to figure out how people are saying, but still some of the cultural threads still remain. So we have a process called KYC where every employee in the company, even today, calls 10 to 20 consumers every quarter. Right?
Okay.
And we have conversations around, hey, how are you feeling? What are we doing right? What can we do better, etc. Right? So we actually do feedback calls, not,
right.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever received a feedback call from a regular consumer brand, right? You do get feedback calls from customer service care centers, but a marketing team calling you and saying, hey, do you have an idea that you would like to share with us, right? Is a pleasant sort of, and it enriches us in terms of what we learn.
Absolutely. Any great new ideas that have come from the customers on which you picked and developed the entire product?
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, right, I mean, in one of the sessions that we used to do, the conversation was around colic, right?
Colic.
And the fact that culturally, Indians have been using hing and coconut oil on the baby's tummies, right? And we don't like to give anything from their mouth, even gripe water. Right? It's a very Western concept, right? And we don't want the kid to have anything apart from baby milk, right? So how can you make that convenient for us, right? And we launched something called Easy Tummy Roll-On, which basically has the mix already in it of hing and asafoetida and sort of fennel and coconut oil, and you just rub that on the tummy and you're done, right? So, I mean, if you listen to enough problems, you can create enough solutions and make a business out of it.
I think listening to customers is the richest benefit always.
Absolutely.
So now that you are also working towards starting your own stores, how do you see the whole range developing? How do you see omni-channel for your brand?
No, I think from a range perspective, even before stores came in, like we said, listening to consumers has been a heart of the business. So we kept hearing what people were wanting from us. We kept analyzing the search bar data on our website as to what are people searching for, what do they want from us, right? And we listened and expanded into other categories like skin care, hair care, body care, and now color cosmetics, right? So all of those were things that consumers told us, right? And in between the journey, we also realized that there are a few SKUs which are emerging as heroes in our portfolio, like onion shampoo and oil, or Upton face wash, or a vitamin C face wash, and which are actually ready to get into physical retail. So we first started with a distributed retail strategy. We went into the right kind of stores, put the products there, and that sort of...
How many stores you reach now through distribution?
About 50,000.
50,000.
Yeah.
What's the kind of target in mind?
In another 12 months, another 12 months, about 100,000. I don't think we'll go to 1 million because we're a mass premium brand, right? We still are about 20% more premium
Restricted
to the war, right? So weighted distribution is what we're chasing, right? But now we have started our own store journey, right? Because we realized that the assortment that we have is large enough, right? That there are consumers who want to discover all of that assortment, and we're clearly seeing that. While in a distributed trade, the top 10 SKUs would contribute to 60% of the sales, right? In our own store environment, they will contribute to only 20% of the sales, right? It's actually the other parts of the assortment which people are discovering and buying and experiencing, right, is what is selling a lot more. And that's the part of the business that we'll scale very aggressively.
Well, I think there are a lot of D2C startup entrepreneurs, I think, in the audience who would like to know 2-3 areas of the struggle of an entrepreneur, and maybe we can kickstart with one key question. Did you ever fear about where the whole Mamaearth company is going at any point of time, either in terms of product or funding or success?
I mean, what else do you fear for? That's what you think about. You know, I wouldn't use the word fear. You know, I would use the word contemplation. And you know, I mean, that's the job of a founder, right?
Absolutely.
Creating a vision that excites you, excites your team, excites your consumers, right?
Correct.
And I think from that perspective, that's what we have been both thinking about every year. Hey, what's next, right?
What's next?
How
Correct.
do we see this next year? How do we see this next 5 years, right? And how do we see the brand shaping up? How do we see the organization shaping up, right? And what more do we do, right? To continue the growth momentum? So I think a lot of those sort of questions are what we answer on a daily basis, and answers change as well as we discover new.
As you continue on the journey, things change as well. Great. And any big contribution that you could see from some of your team members? You talked about your wife as well.
Oh,
so
she is,
in terms of technology, for example, anything that was different that your team did?
No, of course. I mean, every function, I believe, of ours has done cutting-edge work in their own domain, right? From R&D, which has created cutting-edge formulations, to tech and data, which have created a beautiful stack, as well as a lot of internal products which help us grow and launch new brands, to our influencer marketing team, which has created benchmarks that everyone follows. I mean, you name it, and I think I can count achievements of our functions, which are absolutely amazing. Each of our leaders is just class apart.
Great. So, who are your business idols?
I would say, I mean, Jeff Bezos is one, right? I think the way he's created value in the last 20 years and grown the business from one core to multiple cores now, and it's been very interesting to see how it's sort of shaped the organization and created value, and very, very execution-driven.
Absolutely execution-driven.
So I think I respect that.
That's the biggest one. And the number 2, number 3 company in the world, I would say, in market cap today.
Yes.
And great execution skills at the end of the day. And very, very close to customers. That's, I think, the next part. So if you had not done Mamaearth, what would you have done? What would be the other new big idea for you?
No, I honestly have 13 other folders on my laptop, which
that's
never happened.
That's what I wanted to understand.
But I think from a perspective of areas that I find exciting now, and I would say electric is one area which enamors me. I think the whole industry is going to change over the next 7 to 10 years, and that's an area to back or be a part of. Financial inclusion, and how do you make finance easy for a lot of people to invest better, to lend better, to sort of generate credit for their businesses, right, or for themselves.
Making it easy.
Yeah, I think that space is also very interesting. And I also like the whole, and I'm invested in all of these spaces. I like the health tech space. I very strongly believe COVID has been a boon for the country from a perspective of 2 areas. One is SaaS from India for the world.
Absolutely.
Because earlier, one of the biggest issues that we used to face was the sales teams that you had to build in US. You could build a great product, right? But then to go and sell it in US was a challenge. Now, when everyone is open to virtual selling, and a lot of Indian SaaS companies are going to go big globally, and I would bet on that, because we've been great sort of tech guys. We've been becoming great product guys, right? And now this has led to us becoming, removing the sales shackles as well, right? So that's interesting. So I think those are a few.
Great. Any 3 key competencies that you would like to see in an entrepreneur? From your own learning, what do you see as the 3 key competencies? Maybe you want to add more issues.
I think one, you've got to keep your ego out of the door, right? It is a very humbling, ego-crushing experience, right? So whatever could be your laurels in the past, right? Just forget about them, right? Because you're starting from zero. In fact, you're starting from a negative, right? Secondly, I would say hustle, right? There is no shortcut to hard work, right? You will need to put in those hours. You will need to slog the hardest. You you will hire, but you will still, need to work much harder than others because it is your company. And I would say persistence, right? You will go through ups and downs, right? You've got to, in your heart, find a purpose or a passion which is stronger than just building that business and keeps you into that zone of coming and hustling every day. Right?
Sure.
So I think those 3 competencies.
Sure. Great. So before I ask, anybody wants any specific question to be answered from the audience? Can we get a mic here?
Mic 1. Oh, there we go, sir. Hello.
Hi, Varun. My name is Puneet. It was a pleasure hearing you. In fact, I've been following you and...
Puneet, can you be louder?
Yeah. My name is Puneet. I'm called Deckbeck. It's been a pleasure hearing you and your success story for Mamaearth. And practically, I've been persistent, chasing you guys to reach out to learn a lot. Now, when you're looking at the future, and I mean, one of the points which you said there, you were the only one of the companies who is connecting with the customer or the consumer in respect to taking the feedback. I know this has been going on for a while, but is this a way you could see that probably going through sharing those testimonials as one of the mediums for your future plans for your customers to, probably come up directly to you and look for a kind of a product which they want? Could that be the scenario? Any time in future?
Honestly, I didn't understand the
Can you rephrase it once again?
Yeah, just the question.
Even I couldn't follow the question.
So, for example, you're saying when we talk to consumers and collect that information, right, does that help us in innovating better, or can we share those testimonials to sell to consumers?
Yeah, both ways. As in, maybe, I wasn't aware of it, that there is a way to reach out to Mamaearth, like what you just said, that you have been taking feedback consistently, and that has probably helped you get more products in place. Something on those lines, if that could be probably put across to the consumers to reach out to you directly.
Oh yeah, it's a very interesting idea. Currently, a lot of our reach out, honestly, is something that is generated by us, right? Be it on conversations or asking questions and getting answers to people who are shopping on our websites. Right? But the current and a lot of consumers do reach out to us on social handles like Instagram, etc. But I think it's far more around, hey, I didn't get my order, where is it, etc. It's more those queries. But creating a platform where they can come and share their ideas with us is something that we haven't done till now. And I'd probably steal that idea from you and start something like that for my consumers.
Let me. I'm sorry, it's again gone. Is it no? Very good thought. Thank you very much. That's what I was trying to say. I bring live commerce. In fact, I've spent enough time in live commerce, practically 18 years. Maybe in that process is where the reason why I was trying to reach out to you guys.
Okay.
So, try and help you build that platform where you could actually have your own audience instead of getting subscribers on the flea markets like, social media. Rather get the customer right at your own platforms.
Building communities of your own. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, there is something which is our tech team is building on that front, but would surely you can ping me on LinkedIn and we can connect.
I did that too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else has any question before we get back? No one seems to have any big question coming. So for me, the next big question is, what's next for you?
Well, I think, like I said, for us, we want to be the #1 choice of Indian millennials in the beauty and personal care space. And that means we will need to provide all relevant propositions and categories to our consumers.
So just to understand, you kickstarted with the baby care range.
Yeah.
And now you are across the whole range. So
yes,
what would be
not just in the range, but we also have 5 more brands. Yeah.
number of SKUs in kids, number of SKUs in the other part of personal care?
I
Equal?
don't even remember.
No, I'm saying.
Other part of personal care will be bigger now because the market is about 20 times larger.
Absolutely.
Right?
The BPC range is much bigger.
Yeah. So that's bigger, right?
Yeah.
But we also have more brands now, right?
Correct.
We launched the Derma company, Aqualogica, Ayuga. We acquired a couple of brands, and now we're looking at building a house of brands, where we're able to sort of service our consumers. I think our time is up.
Our time is up?
Lady is telling us.
No problem. Thank you. I hope
Thank
all of
you
you enjoyed, and I'm thankful to Varun for sharing his whole journey, and you can reach out to him if possible. Yeah, thank you.
Super. Thank you so much.